Okay, so going into round 4 here, Dakota and Luke are still both with me.
Hello, I'm Luke. Still.
Still here.
All right, so this one's round 4. I forgot to hit record until after Mulligan decision. We kept both anyway, so I looked at this hand and saw not the agenda, but Rashida, defense, and like some reasonable assets. Figured this can go somewhere. Rashida makes a lot of hands good. Like,
Yeah.
our opponent is playing Val. Um, Val has been a pretty, like, I wouldn't say middle of the road, but like not like very continuously appearing Anarch runner over the years.
Yeah. She's a very just like generically strong ident.
So her text is 50 deck size, which is why there's 45 in the stack. And the corp starts with a bad publicity. So, like you can see down the bottom left, bad pub 1. That means that they have plus $1 on runs at me and have cards that might key off that. Blackmail
Yeah.
doesn't exist anymore, thank God, but
Yeah. Bad publicity is very good. It's literally a free credit for every run you make.
yeah. The old problem with Val way back was the card pool wasn't big enough. Oh boy. I drew Daily Quest and oh yeah, things
Here
have
we go.
changed, everybody. Daily Quest is a bullshit card. So Daily Quest here is res. You can only res on your round. When the runner makes a successful run on it, they gain $2. If they didn't, you gain 3 on the start of your turn. $3 on this Drippy Con is unreasonable.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So I decide, well, Gatekeeper kind of rules. Let's just go for it. And then I go with a Lakshmi in the far remote, mostly because the Rashida would be free for them to poke.
Yeah. And you can handle losing one Lakshmi, and it's a good way to test to see just how diligently they're going to check your cards.
Yeah, so we obviously need to res this. Also, interesting include here, Bravado.
Yeah, that's not something that you would expect to see. Ooh. That seems pretty good. Throw back
Yeah.
2 agendas. Yeah.
The text on Gatekeeper allows you to draw 3 and then shuffle up to 3 agendas away. Like, it also has +6 strength on the turn it's resed. So this turn, I just tried to click on that close and it didn't work. This turn, it'll be very hard for them to like play a breaker and get in. Like Black Orchestra, which is that's the code gate breaker, right?
Yeah.
That would be
It's like
9
2 pumps. Yeah.
It would be so much to get in.
Yeah.
So now that they know that the daily quest is on the table, the game has turned a little bit. We are now in the daily quest phase of the game. But yeah, Bravado, I found that interesting. That's 3 influence for an include. It's a really strong card though.
Yeah.
Okay, so as I kind of expected, and the reason I didn't play the Rashida, the other reason I didn't play the Rashida in the end was that oh boy. Let me quick go back. I love Zero.
Yeah. 0 is very cool.
Zero is sort of professional contacts, but worse better. It's a really neat card. I like it. This was on the list for a while in some form, restricted or banned, right? Like
Yeah, it was banned for a while, mostly because self-damage effects were just a little bit too powerful.
Yeah. So now I've got money, and we have incoming money. They're going to be using that Zero to try to find breakers. One of the cool things about Zero with their deck, pretty sure I go ahead fully operational for like 2 cards, 4 credits, and then I res the MCA go down to 6 credits. I'm able to defend it and
Yeah.
keep them on 3. The cool
Very
thing with
strong.
that net damage that it does, you have to discard a card at random to use it. The breakers that Valencia is going to be playing are going to be Black Orchestra, Paperclip, MK Ultra. So they don't care about their breakers being discarded. That's a plus.
Yep, they can all be installed without spending a click from the heap.
So,
And then also there's still I've had worse, which is sometimes just free card draw if you
Yep.
hit it with the net damage.
yep. They dirty laundry. They trash the other MCA from my hand. At this point, we are in a super strong position. Our econ is extremely protected. I'm going to go for the Rashida and then install the successful field test or Jeeves after that.
Yeah, it's really interesting that you really don't need to defend your centrals when you have this powerful of assets installed.
Yes.
Like if I were in the runner's shoes right now, I would be scared of the daily quest and the Lakshmi that's about to go off.
So
Yeah.
he's presenting too much of a threat to be able to willy-nilly go check R&D.
Right, because
basically
you
what's
you would
happening.
think with open HQ and R&D, he would just be smashing in, checking, getting free accesses, but he doesn't really have the time to right now.
Yeah. The biggest problem here is that the power of Daily Quest is so high, they cannot afford to take any action that isn't get them closer to killing Daily Quest.
Yeah.
It not even just like a free peck or two in R&D or your hand.
They're doing
If
a
they,
couple.
I mean, if they can't get daily quests anyway, what's stopping them from just trying to get some?
Right, and you're not wrong. But
That's what they're doing. So they
yeah.
are doing that.
Yep.
In the sense that one of the things that's restricted to them is, for one, MCA is giving them 3 clicks a turn, and for 2, 0 is a once per turn. So they can't use 0 to hyper dig to go find the breaker. So like they're going to be using 0 as their first action because it's the best way for them to dig to get a breaker to get to daily quest. Then they're like last turn they used dirty laundry to check HQ. Dirty laundry is a free peak, like you said, because it's also getting the money, which is forward progress that they need towards, killing daily quest. Here they end up running HQ with the free run they got on Deuce's Wild. So they're not taking actions to run the hand, but
they're being as efficient as they can anyway.
But they're having a lot of good.
But they still have to
incidental.
deal with that daily quest.
Yes.
Right.
And so I'm gonna res Rashida, and this turn I think is going to be an explosion.
Yeah, this is looking pretty scary.
I also might miss my mandatory draw here. I think we end up having a weird bit where like I trash the Rashida, take all my turn, and then realize I didn't draw because of the timing on things, and then like the turn gets all messed up.
Yeah.
So anyway, the big thing here is that MCA gives me a billion clicks. It gives me enough clicks to install this successful field test and then advance it 4 times to score it, which then allows me to install every card in my hand. However, I'm being silly about
Getting
it.
the Jeeves in for another click.
Yes.
That Jeeves is always getting you some work.
Yep. So, but yeah, that setup was the fact that I haven't mandatorily drawn here is me like flubbing and not realizing exactly how the client works. I thought it would just
Yeah. Well, and it really shouldn't let you take clicks until after you mandatory draw.
Well, the problem is that and now here finally, hey, what if I defend, my centrals a little bit? Like,
Yeah.
I don't have a hand, but maybe I'll defend R&D so that you can't walk in and steal points from me.
And then you go, uh-oh.
Yeah, now we're in like this weird zone where like, so let me just, this is us talking about that.
Skip
Anyway.
through fixing it.
Yeah, so we have to undo that and then install those. Anyway, what it ends up doing is giving me an ice on HQ as well.
Yeah. Just one more card to install.
Yes. All right.
That was a turn.
So that was a
Oh
turn.
my goodness.
That was a turn.
You
Again,
installed 6 cards, scored an agenda. Man, that's insane.
I'm also going to be my money is also outrageous right now.
Yeah, you gained 3 for free. That's already a turn. Still can't get in to deal with the daily quest.
Yeah, they still
And
don't.
now they have a whole host of other issues.
Okay, so they rebirth.
Omar. Okay.
So they're just setting up. Rebirth is free, by the way, and Rebirth is a kind of hover over the Rebirth. Why not hover over the Rebirth? You jerk. All right. Rebirth is a card that is a really interesting inclusion. Usually free in decks like Val. It lets you change out your ident. Which, because Val's identity is you start the game with a bad pub, when you swap out, that's still there. So you can swap out to another ident with a strong ability that works in the current situation. You know, Omar lets you run archives and treat it as though it was any other server.
That's pretty good.
And all of a sudden I have to defend archives as though it was HQ. Other ones they might have, Edward is trash operations you find. Who's the other usual suspect on rebirths?
There's the Alice Merchant.
Oh,
Is the one that I see.
That's like when you run.
It's like
archives.
When you run, it's either run archives or run a central. The corp tracks the card from their hand.
Yeah. So anyway, they're doing a setup turn. They played 2 cards and then did their 0. They still don't have a way to get to daily quest. So,
my gosh.
How
much money has that thing gotten you now?
I think it's gotten me
like 12?
12, something like that. Anyway, so I'm gonna I'm gonna go ahead.
This is your turn 5, and you rise it on turn 1.
Mm-hmm.
So I score my Vitruvius, and then I get to just play like Violet level and draw a billion cards.
Cool. Yeah, I really don't see how you would lose this game at this point. Though, I guess I should mention, one of the more popular decks that Val plays is Apocalypse style, where you're trying to trash all the corpse cards, which if that were to happen here, that would definitely change this game.
Yes. And that also makes Omar
yeah, much more dangerous.
Also,
okay.
They finally have a breaker. They finally have a breaker for it. Amakua, the turtle. Turtle is played in a lot of decks. When you make a run and you don't, by the way, they stole a GFI from my hand. I didn't even mention that.
You skipped right over it. Yeah, they went through archives.
They went through archives in HQ and then stole the GFI. Amakua gets stronger every run you make where you don't steal. Or sorry, don't trash or steal.
Don't trash or steal, yeah.
Or when you expose, which comes up a lot rarer, but happens. But Gatekeeper has 6 strength on the turn you res it. It's nothing the turn after. And Amakua is, 0 strength and gets bigger. So they finally found a breaker to get in. They finally get my daily casts. It's way too late.
Yeah. At this point, you have enough credits to last the rest of the game, essentially.
Yeah, I do not need another credit for the rest of the game. I just need to decide what server I am scoring in. So, I'm pretty sure this is like me deciding like Double Hagen or Fairchild or something like that is the server I want to score GFI in.
Yeah, to me it looks like you would install 3 cards and advance GFI once behind some ice.
Yes. I probably I would like to ice archives, but can't. They also just don't have the money. Here's me looking to make sure what breakers they have. They have a paperclip. They have MK Ultra. There is no Black Orchestra. So I decide that the Fairchild is the one I want to score behind.
Though they can click through it, but I
They,
don't think that's what they're gonna do.
however, they don't have the money to break the second. They would have to spend like a click on like 0 to get enough money to break Hagen.
Right.
So I just go like I'm gonna gain money and have enough cash because right here my thought process is costs 4 for Hagen, 6 for Fairchild. That's 10 credits. That would leave me with 4, and then I can just advance.
Yeah.
Let's go. So they have to use 0 to get a little bit more cash so that they can install the paperclip even. They can't run on 1. I don't think they'd be able to make the break. And then also be able to click through. They might. Be like 5 strength, 4 to break. Anyway. So they end up, Dirty Laundry Archives, get some cash. They have 2 clicks left. Oh boy, it's got a counter. I love Turtle.
Yeah, Turtle's very good. It's only 1 influence too.
Yeah, that card gets played. A lot, like, we talk about meta calls, they had to install that from hand.
Oof.
Yeah. On a stim hack, they're in. By the way, stim hack, still core set card, one of the most threatening things that exists in the game. 0 cost, gain at 9 credits to make a run, gain 9 credits for the run, take a brain damage afterwards. So like,
It's amazing how still useful that is. It never went out of season.
nothing like they've made fake stim hacks. Nothing has been as strong as that. Like, kind of think of it from like a money situation of like, okay, Sure Gamble gains you 4, Dirty Laundry gains you 3, Sure Gamble gains you 9 and costs 0. Like the darkest of dark writs. You take a brain damage for it at the end of the run, but it is the
Stim
darkest.
hack, you mean?
Yeah,
Stim hack, yeah.
Stim hack, yeah. You take a brain damage at the end of the run of it, but it's
Yeah.
incredibly dark ritual. So they have to install, and they break Hagen. They have 4 credits left.
Did they know they were going to need that black orchestra somehow?
They they installed it because they had the other 2 in play. They ended up deciding to bounce off because they didn't think they had the money to get through whatever was behind it, and then score.
Which is a good call in that case, but
yeah,
it was necessary to get in there to prevent the win.
Yeah, so the reason they installed Black Orchestra is because their graveyard had the other 2 breakers. Their thought process is, like, if I can get them to, I can break whatever the first ice is and maybe, get through later. I think, again, I think one of the things that a lot of players haven't done against me, threaten the Jeeves.
Yeah.
If you
Jeeves is hard to threaten, though. It's 5 to trash.
Right, but if you killed the Jeeves there, I don't win on the next turn.
True. Yeah, he didn't need to go
Jeeves
for the
does a lot for you.
And there's no way, like, because I'm on 1 advance counter, 4 points, the only way I would win is a 4 advance on a 3/5. Like,
yeah.
So I think threatening the Jeeves is a better move there.
Yeah, I think so.
But anyway, let's move on to game 2. Like I said, this is a 52-minute file. That was 10 minutes.
Okay.
So,
long game.
All right, Polana Foods versus Ken, everybody. All right, get in your chairs. Let's get ready. We got a long one. Polana. Polana basically has one deck that is Polana these days. Polana Foods is the first time the runner draws a card each turn, gain $1. Polana is the Jinteki, I don't know if I'd call it Glacier style, but that's the closest to it. Like, that might just be the best way to describe it.
It's like a mid-range Glacier, I'd call it.
Like, this is the slow, methodical, score 7 points, keep you out of servers. This isn't the Jinteki trying to kill you. This is the Jinteki using its powerful bullshit to keep you out. I end up mulliganing. Okay, happy. Again, my mulligan criteria is where's Swift or public terminal. Anyway, ICE HQ hedge fund IPO go. So infinity dollars, ICE on HQ. You're going to notice this is going to be every opponent is going to ICE HQ. That's how it goes.
Hey, look, there's the diversion.
You're a criminal.
All right,
So you got boomerang and diversion. It seems like a line.
right. But let's like think out all the different cases on this. 15 credits. We are very likely stealing $5 here. We are very likely, getting them down. There's no way they res Wotan and go down to $0
Cure
or
something,
like
yeah.
However, if you are familiar with Polana Foods and Big Jinteki Ice, there might be a threat you can think of here.
Ooh. Yikes.
So, this is the ice I didn't want that to be. But this is Anansi. Anansi, if you do not break all subroutines, you take 3 net damage.
And boomerang can only hit 2.
Yes. So I'm taking 3 net damage regardless. They also going down to no money. I'm getting their cash. They spent 8 to res this, and then they're going to go down to 2.
Yep, and there's no end the run here, so.
So this is going to suck for both sides.
Woof.
Yeah. So
Yeah, you're gonna have 1 card in hand at the end of this.
like I'm sitting here deciding what 2 do I break? Do I even spend this boomerang? I probably do.
Yeah, I guess you don't need to bracket here, but
Right.
not much point in holding it either.
You probably break that middle one because they gain $1 if you get a card. So why give them 2 cards?
Honestly, I would break the first and last, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
So the thing there is that they gain $1 if I draw a card, but it's the first card I draw on a turn. I already drew for click 1.
Oh, okay.
So it's already off. Then that's not a problem.
I missed that.
Yeah. So they're going to be gaining a lot of dollars off me. I'm usually drawing 2 cards a turn on my. But yeah. I end up getting rid of the rearrange 5, and I end up getting rid of the do 1 net damage and letting the draw fire. I can pay 2 to draw. I end up choosing 2. And real good net damage there.
Yeah.
Sadly, it
Missed
did not
your paperclip.
Missed my paperclip. The reason I ended up drawing there was because 1, I knew I was going to have a number of a reasonable amount of cash to follow that up with, and 2, I kind of want to draw in bunches so that I'm not letting them trigger their Polana every turn. So I just draw 4 and discard. I don't know why I'm hovering over the plus credit there. Anyway, they are currently on install ice, gain $2. So
They got 7 credits again.
Yep. It's a nice one to see.
Sure, gamble Bukalter. It's good.
Just
Considering HQ legwork.
Just looking at the amount, legwork's a bad choice here because of Obokata.
Obokata, yeah.
I was just counting the break cost. It's 7, which becomes 5. It's a lot. So here we're again, both of us are in a we all lost a lot of resources on that first exchange, so we're still both sort of making up the difference. I don't have any board, I don't have any econ board. They don't have any credit sources and are pretty broke. So I'm drawing to try to find public terminals or Swifts, and I'm also trying to just threaten things. Or make moves here. I'm looking at this. I might go with the Bravado on either R&D or Server 1. Pretty sure it's Server 1 and I get Thimble rigged.
Hmm.
This is just me. Bravado gains you $6 plus 1 for each ice you pass. So I'll even if they res a thing, a sentry's the most dangerous they could res, and I have my sentry breaker. So
Yeah.
anyway, now I have all the money in the world, and here's the part of why this game takes so long: is that thimble rig triggers are slow. At the beginning of the turn, you can swap that ice. At the anytime it's passed, you can swap that ice. It's a strong card.
Yeah, it's the only card I think that lets you move ice around without spending any resources.
Anyway, here's something.
Stall advance. So that could be either NGO, an agenda. I don't think there's any other advanceable trap cards besides NGO in this deck. But I could be wrong. Angolo's good to get down. So now you're basically able to get through any ice.
Yeah, so I go ahead and just run server 1. It's 1 for me to break the end the run there. And I have 4 cards in hand for an Obakata. That's the important bit. So again, the threat that this deck presents is mostly just scoring. We're not having death threat. The death threat is like... Anyway, they're going to do this to annoy me. Oh, look, it's Thimble Rig again.
So they were choosing not to res that ice, but swapped it to get you to pay 1 for the already res ice. That's actually a pretty decent
Yes.
play.
Yes. They swap it back. It's like it's free. Anyway, I do get to steal a Nisei for this move, which feels really nice.
That's a good find. And then Biovault.
Yeah.
That gets out of there.
Yeah. Biovault can Nisei counter, basically.
That was the other card I was thinking for, yeah. Biovault's the other advanceable non-agenda.
Yeah. So
that was a very good turn for you. Corp is still fairly low on credits.
yeah, I am as well. I was at 15 to start this turn, but I'm at 5. But having Ngolo down is pretty strong.
So they swapped Thimble Rig to R&D. To me, that says that they're going to try to score out of that remote soon. Do you take this opportunity to pressure R&D a little bit?
I'm sure I take this first. I want to draw up. First, I'm doing math. I'm like, I just drew diversion. Can I get in through Anansi? The answer is yes on this, I think, if I wanted to. I'm pretty sure if I gain credit, no, sorry. Yeah, if I gain credit in diversion, I will have enough to Ngolo. No, sorry, I'm 1 short. God. This is, okay, all the math I'm just talking about, and I'm saying no, not this, is literally exactly what I'm saying on the video.
You're just reliving this experience.
Yeah, like, oh god, do I have it? And then I was like, oh, do I just go for the Maker's Eye? And so I go for the Maker's Eye.
Yeah, that seems like at least the path of least resistance here.
Yeah.
You get the most value for the least resources spent.
3 unknown cards. Hopefully we can, and we have a lot of cards in hand to hit an Obakata. Again, Obakata is 4 net damage to steal.
Yeah.
One of the things about this deck is that card in server 1 can't be threatening a score right now. The way this deck works, they can't like score. They don't have 3/2s. They don't have small agendas.
Mm-hmm.
So border control. Border control. Site Sentan.
So ice, and IPO, yeah.
So they're gonna have money and they're gonna have ice. That's a bit scary on their end. I still don't have like an econ.
You're really not set up besides having your breakers.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna run out of money at some point soon. Double inside drop looks good though.
Yeah, quite happy to have that. They have that thimble rig to keep annoying it, but I have access to anywhere I want. I think, again, right now is just a missing econ. Once I get that set up, I feel like we're in the driver's seat. Also, stealing a Nisei feels good. That's a card that if they get scored early, they can have problems. They end up overriding the ice on R&D. Which is
Yeah,
one of the few
part of
actions on Jinteki that isn't clean.
yeah, I was gonna say part of the reason why this Corp deck is so strong is because of those Nisei style effects, border control, Nisei, and Biovolt. And they can set up a position where they're on game point and can end every run the runner can make at their server.
What exactly does the Nisei say? It just stops you, right?
End
It
the
It
run.
says no.
Yeah, when you score it, it gets a counter, and then you can remove the counter at any time to just end the run.
Yeah.
And there's no way to like prevent it or counter it or anything like that.
Yeah, Nisei has a couple of those up their sleeve, right?
Yeah, so border control is the ice that Wayland has that has the exact same text, but you have to be running on the server it's on. And Biovault, the upgrade I trashed earlier, if it's double advanced, has the Nisei text. You can
Trash it to end the run.
So I'm very happy with the diversion there. Specifically, thank goodness there's Swift. The big thing with diversion of funds that makes it really good there is that they are drawing an IPO.
Yeah.
But they were on $3 anyway. Now that we have Swift, our run events are free clicks. We get to, because they're doing their like setup bits, I get to threaten R&D a little bit here just because I'm dirty laundering anyway. This is a free. I know the card in. Okay, another border control. Yep. So they have 2 border controls. Hey, public terminal. All right, there's our setup. So they're going to $1 IPO. That's a pretty obvious play to me.
Ooh, Stargate.
Yes.
That is another avenue for you to pursue. Especially at this point in the game, they're so far from really threatening anything out of the remote that Stargate looks really good.
Yep.
To me.
So Stargate,
what's it do?
Lets you run R&D. Instead of looking at the top card, you look at the top 3, reveal them, and trash one. So I get to look at their top 3. If there's an agenda, I trash it, throw it in the garbage, and then go grab it out of archives. If there's not an agenda, I can start trashing their like powerful effects. You know, they're like, but here I'm gonna trash a Nisei Mark II, and then, you know, go run archives to pick it up. Like, thanks.
It's pretty good.
So yeah, they move the thimble ring off, and now all of a sudden they have to. This is no longer R&D can be like, oh, you know, R&D, I can have like little. No, this is a game-ending threat on R&D. An immediate install on R&D with an upgrade. If you're familiar with cards, you probably know what that is. That upgrade is the most likely play for that upgrade is Chrysium Grid. Chrysium Grid is an upgrade that says when successful effects do not happen.
Yeah, it's runs on the server are not considered successful for the purposes of card text. So yeah, basically you can't trigger any effect that says on a successful run.
So Stargate turns off while that is in play.
Yeah.
It's also 5 to trash, so anyway, my current line here is I'm sitting here thinking, well, you advance that card in server 1 a couple times. Let's force some reses. Let's force some like action here.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see what's up. I want you to do something. One of the cool things about okay, so now we know about a border control, you know?
Yeah, that's pretty expected, I think.
Right.
Those usually go on the remote.
Right. I mostly want to like them to take the time to I ended up deciding to break in here. If this last thing is a border control or something, that's fine. But like I don't want them to be I don't want this to be them sneaking by agenda. Even though I go to no credits for this, this is likely, you know, a Biovault or an NGO is possible here. But
Biovaults, yeah.
I
that's kind of the worst case for that run.
Like I figure that 2 credits is worth that check.
Yeah.
Is my thought process. Also, now I know that there's a border control on that server as well. They move it inside so that it's not so that it's a longer run to get to it.
Are you vulnerable now that you have no credits?
They can score here. I'm vulnerable in that sense, but they're on 0 points to my 4, and their deck contains 3-point agendas. It is likely that they're able to score from this position because I am on no money, but they still have to respect like the threat that a lot of my events have, like inside job, boomerang, even on like no money. I still have the ability to make some really rude runs.
So you're not really worried about being low on credits?
Not really. I'm worried in the sense that like this is the I don't like that boomerang play.
Why not?
Boomerang needs to encounter the ice that like you choose in order to like use it. So like playing the boomerang preemptively when they have a way to swap the ice around doesn't make sense.
Or they could just
Overwrite
overwrite that
yeah,
ice, and your boomerang would be dead.
Which they've shown that they're willing to do. Anyway,
Yeah.
they've also now shown that server 1 is scoring. We are going for a score. It is time to score. They've moved Anansi off of HQ. They've put Biovault, and they've advanced another card in there. I am likely unable to
Yeah, that server is very expensive to contest right now.
contest that. What I do choose to do is I want to use the Stargate to force the Chrysium res. Chrysium costs 3 to res. So I've been kind of waiting on this move to be like, when can I most effectively make this run? It costs 5 to trash, which I won't have, but I still want to threaten here. Especially as they're in a position where they want to spend $3 next turn. So there's the Chrysium. Even if the Stargate fails, I'll still get the random access. Because it will not trigger the instead of accessing cards. They end up not spending money because they need to be able to score next turn. Anyway.
Oh, agenda. All right.
My random run is an agenda. So now we're on 6-0.
Legwork looks pretty easy here, but I'm guessing they're not holding points if they're putting their Thimble Rig on HQ.
I think the same thing, and it's also free.
Right.
Because I'll gain back the credit.
It's worth checking. You got a second legwork, so
yeah,
you might as well get some info.
The reason that this is free, by the way, is that legwork costs 2. One of that is public terminal, so it'll cost 1. Kenma gives you $1 back for your first run event, so it'll cost 0.
Swift gives you a click.
Gives you a click back, so it costs $0, 0 clicks to make that action.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, they can move the Thimble Rig in, which they do all the time. So yeah, from here, now we are in a very different game state. Because we're on 6 points, any agenda is the end of the game. Nazi, Sadaka, border control. Okay. Their hand's all ice. So yeah, now it's just a matter of... Yeah, so the card they res there, the new upgrade, La Costa Grid, is at the beginning of the turn, advance a card in this server.
Yeah, very cool upgrade.
So they go
One
ahead
of my favorite
and
new cards.
get an Obakata out of there.
Yeah, that's good. Good for them.
What's it do?
Obakata is 4 net damage to steal. No other text. 5/3.
Ah.
It's just hard to steal. But they want it gone because that's game point on the board, right? Like, even with a Biovault resed, even with a which they just res because like we know it's a Biovault. We both agree it's a Biovault. Just res the Biovault.
Yeah. There are some runner cards that can punish not resing that card preemptively.
So here I go into R&D. This is me crashing the Chrysium Grid. I go to $0 for that. But the Crisium Grid's gone, so now Stargate's active.
Yeah, that seems good. Yeah, looking at the course board state, I don't think there's really any sense in trying to contest the remote at this point in the game.
Especially, like, they have $4. They are extremely broke. So I think here I gain some money and make my, yep, gain $2, make my run. So, again, the way Stargate works, look at top 3, choose one, trash it. Engram Flush, Anansi, hedge fund. So, 2 pieces of ice and a hedge fund. This one to me looks pretty cut and dry. I want them to stay broke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kill their money.
Yep. So, I'm just going to slowly gain money. I don't want to draw right now because that'll gain them cash and they're a little broke. They can score that card in that remote. Go down to $1 to do it, but they can do it. Moving the Thimble
Swapping?
Rig, yep.
Huh. Interesting.
So yeah, they go ahead and advance, score their card out of that remote. Now they have a Nisei. So now they're set up to have a remote I can't contest. If you take a look at like Border Control, Nisei Counter, Biovault. But they also have the problem of like a single keyhole Stargate can end the game.
Yeah.
I keep calling Stargate Keyhole because it's a fixed version of Keyhole, which could do it multiple times in a turn and shuffled afterwards. Like, that card was
Stargate's much more fair.
So, I move in to try to Stargate. I'm pretty sure they Nisei me out. Yeah.
Ooh.
They Nisei counter to stop the Stargate.
So that, to me, says they might be holding the last point. If they're that confident that they just need one more turn.
It speaks of desperation to me. Because they just need one more agenda. So they gotta stop them every chance they get, right?
Yeah.
What's the true bluff here?
I do end up agreeing in the sense that I legwork in case they are holding the last point, because I don't want to fall for that bluff. If that's the case, I want to get in there and steal it. Engram Flush. The problem is I know like 3/4 of their hand right now.
Yeah.
The actual thing is, I don't like the way this game is. They don't have the last point. They're not holding the agenda. Their hand right now is like Engram Flush, Anansi, Border Control,
Lacosta Grid,
and like one other unknown non-agenda card. And the top card of their deck is another like piece of ice. So they are extreme. They have no money. They're on 2 credits, and don't have the agenda. So right now we are fighting over R&D. This is an R&D lock situation.
Interesting. Well, and also now server 1 is quite a bit weaker now that Anansi just moved away. You could almost just go blow up their remote.
Yeah. Problem is I don't have the money to blow it up right now.
Yeah.
I'm close because I have to install Paperclip. The actual problem is installing Paperclip over mems me.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, Swift does Swift not give memory? Or is Stargate also too?
Stargate's also too.
Oh jeez.
Yeah. So yeah, now I'm sitting here thinking like, what is this game? And I've decided this is a game that I am going to win or lose off of Stargate. So what I'm gonna do is try to force that as much as possible. I just go ahead and gain 4 credits. I don't want to give them money off of Pilana because we're currently on a money fight situation. So at this point, they're going to draw an unknown card. This is not something that I'm aware of anymore. They're still very broke. They go ahead and install Advance in that remote.
Oh, what does that say?
Well, that could be game point. That could just be game point hiding there. They're not able
Probably
to
far more likely that it's an NGO front.
Yes. NGO front is the advanceable asset that you gain $8 by trashing if it's double advanced. I'm doing some math on like the thimble rig movement because they can like thimble rig, put it in the back slot, and then it costs me 1 plus 4 plus 1 to get in, so that's 6. Playing inside job doesn't change it, and if the agenda is an Obokata, I need 4 cards in hand. Do I just go for the Stargate and try to win off of that line? Because if I Stargate, get in there, get the agenda, the game ends on the spot. Well, right now, there's 5 agendas on the table. The deck contains, I'm pretty sure, 9 agendas.
Yeah.
So that this is either that's an agenda in server 1 and we're at a 3 and 24, or we're at a 4 and 24 and that's an NGO. A lot of math going on here. They can't res the third ice. They can't res the... But one of the things they can do is they can move the Anansi. I think looking at this now, I might have wanted to make a run on server 1, get them to move Anansi off R&D, and then run R&D. But I don't know if they'd move the Anansi. I think they actually would just, like, make me spend 5, boot me with that counter, and then, like, make me spend 5, then boot me with border control, and then move the Anansi. So I don't think that works. This is me trying to immediately threaten with the Stargate. You know, this is the kind of this is the game-ending threat. If this goes through, all right, NGO.
So what does he res? Engram.
Chud is annoying, but I think I just let fire.
Yeah, because at this point you don't care about the Obokata cost. The game ends before you take the damage, if I recall.
No. If I ditch the Obokata in the yard, like,
yeah,
I'll just be able to drop and run it. You have to take 4 damage. You die.
You have to. Okay.
You die if you don't have it. Yeah,
for some reason, I was thinking that if it was the last agenda to end the game, then the damage never resolved or whatever.
No, it specifically cannot be stolen unless you take 4 damage first.
Okay.
But because I'm discarding it from R&D, I wouldn't take the damage on this run.
Yeah.
So.
And you would know that it's there and be able to prepare for it. So.
Yeah. So I let these fire. I'm likely gonna lose both inside jobs because they should name event because my name is Ken Tenma. Goodbye inside job. Goodbye inside job. You name a card type, reveal the hand, get rid of a card type card. So we're gonna break for 7, which is actually 5, go to 4 credits, continue the run. Then something I didn't expect happens. Did you know BioVault is end the run, not end the run on this server?
Yep.
Because up until this exact point, I did not realize that was the text of the card. So you can see me, like, frantically looking, and then all of a sudden, wait, that says end the run. So they can use it as a Nisei counter. They no longer have the defense that is that server. And now I have to, like... I need to draw up so I can steal an Obokata. That's kind of the biggest part of this.
Yeah.
And I want to play the run event. This is free because of Swift.
Yep.
So. Anyhow, now I'm back up to 9 credits. I have a sure gamble. I can make the same threat next turn.
Yeah, and they're out of end the run effects on that server.
So they need to draw an agenda right now on this draw, or on one of their, like, they need to draw it on, like, click 1 so they can throw it in the remote. The remote is challengeable, but not easily. The problem is that Thimblerig can swap the Anansi, and Border Control can end the run once. So they can, like, they can make it difficult.
Right. Well, and they also can threaten from an unadvanced card, too.
Yes.
at this point.
So we talked about how this deck can't like threaten a 3/2 because it doesn't have them. Lacosta Grid advances a card at the start of the turn, which means if they put a 4/2 agenda in there, start their turn, advance it once, and then advance 3 times, that'll end the game. So yeah, again, we're trying to find that last point, and my goodness, is it not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, they're doing a pretty good job of keeping up with you.
Yeah, they're making it very expensive for me to make my actions, and they're taking all of the relevant defensive actions. Like the Biovault on my Stargate feels like so expensive for them, but at the same time, that's easily game point, right?
Yeah, they might have just lost the game if they didn't do that.
Because to them, they know it's 4 and 24, and those odds are not great for 3 cards. They're not like, that's not like guaranteed, obviously, but like 3 cards in there is not where you want to be. So
Another ice and R&D.
yep, we see them playing defense because they don't have anything. So I get another round. However, they did install in server 1.
They did. Yep. Yeah, that's about the play that I would look to make if I was in their shoes.
So before anything happens, what do we do here? This is a possible threatening of game.
Yeah.
So where do we take actions? We can.
Well, and so the server 1, you would need at least 2 clicks to contest that. Probably 3 if that unrest card is another border control.
Yes.
Which immediately limits a lot of options you have if you want to contest that server.
Also, I currently don't have an installed barrier breaker.
Yeah. So if it is double border control, you're basically just out.
Yes. One of the things there is that if they res a border control or res something that I need to pay to bypass like that, they can't score a 3/2 off of $2.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I still want to threaten a Stargate because that is the immediate win. If they res a border control on R&D, they can stop the Stargate, but that also will put them at a much lower, not enough money to win.
Yeah.
So the hope there is that that's what they end up doing. So I go ahead and get enough money to break a border control and make this run.
I actually feel pretty comfortable calling that ICE's border control.
Yeah, I feel like that's I feel like I make this run assuming it's a border control.
Yeah.
We're gonna see a bunch of things where I try to install a paperclip and then go over memmed and then we back up.
So do you just bounce here or
No, I end up going to install the paperclip, going to over mem, undoing the click, use the Ngolo to break.
Yeah.
Choose not to. Anyway, we go through that, realize that this doesn't work, and then just paint it. So, 2 to break, and then 1 to break. I'm gonna be losing a lot of cash here.
Yeah, I mean, so you spend to break the Anansi, and then he just pops border control, which I guess is fine. You get rid of the border control, but that does spend all of your money.
Yes, but they're also on $2 is the hope here.
D-res.
No, they swapped.
Oh, I see.
So now we're at 3 credits, going for our Stargate access. Again, we're not getting in.
Yeah.
So from here, I think I just gain 2 credits and get ready to make the run next turn. I don't want to draw. Drawing is a trap.
Yep.
If I draw a card, they go to 3 credits and they win the game on the spot if that's an agenda in server 1. Turns out it's Rashida, which is pretty bad news. It's a lot of cards.
Yeah, it's likely that they have now drawn the agenda that they need.
Yes, because that was 4 cards drawn. It's more of likelihood than my Stargate hitting. So here we go. Install in server
Install.
1. Hedge fund. And IPO. So they are unbreakable as far as money goes. So again, here we are.
So this is an interesting spot because there's that ice that was swapped over to R&D,
Yes.
which has been on the remote for a long time. I kind of feel like it might be the third border control, but I don't know. The remote is again threatening the score, which you actually could get in at this point, and there's no real risk of him swapping over the Anansi or anything like that.
Yeah, there is there. Like in the sense that
True, because he would have to swap and then pop border control,
yes.
and then you'd have to run it again.
And
But at that point, you might just go Stargate and R&D through the thimble rig.
yeah, the actual problem is money here.
Yeah,
I'm on $5. It cost me 4 to break border control and then 1 to break the thimble rig, bring me down to $0.
you do have a boomerang,
I can't
which
play
could discount your break for border control.
Cannot play it.
Oh, it's unique. Duh.
Yep.
That's right.
Again, one of those actions from 20 turns ago, and I think that it was a misstep because I shouldn't have played the forward inside job because now it's not an option anymore. I don't think that's a game breaker, but it's a bit of an annoyance because it would have been a lot easier to break border control with a boomerang. Funnily enough, border control would prevent the boomerang from shuffling back in. Because it has to be like on a successful run. I end up drawing cards trying to find like anything to threaten here. The actual thing I want to find here is like a Maker's Eye or a legwork.
Yeah.
Because they drew 4 cards. HQ might also be a place to go. I end up though with Embezzle, which could be a reasonable way to make some cash.
True. And you name ice, I think.
Yeah, that's the.
Is this Isenton? Just 3 subs anyways. But you might as well pop boomerang.
That's tough.
Do you not pop boomerang here?
Well, like so if I pop boomerang, I don't get the money back from Bugalter.
Oh, from Bugalter, yeah.
You have to full break. So it doesn't change the cost. It's 2
But
either way.
It does allow you to install your other boomerang, though.
Installing the other boomerang doesn't do anything, though. If I install, say I install boomerang on border control and ran, they end the run immediately.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, I embezzle, I get Rashida and Anansi, so I do hit. So I have some cash from that run. What this means is that my Stargate is now live. If this first ice here isn't something super bad.
Which it's not. All right. Excellent.
So
it looks like you have worn down a lot of their defenses at this point. Can we find the agenda?
So yeah, here we finally get to go with
Now we've got the 4 cards in hand already.
Now, funnily enough, now that I'm looking at this in reverse, there's a way, way more cool play they have available to them. Move that border control on R&D.
That's actually really sick.
So
I was waiting for that actually.
Oh man.
Yeah. So
there's the last border control.
So I whiff here. So
damn.
But like the thing is, I'm on no credits now. If they move that border control over to R&D, like end the run after I pay 7, I ain't getting
yeah.
But
that's bad.
From here, this looks like the end of my turn.
Yeah, we got 1 click left.
I don't know what I'm looking for in the chat. Oh, no, I was looking for if they had triggered their...
Mm.
Anyway. So, yeah, they started the turn. They advanced 3 times.
Aw.
So, yeah, we finally got in.
Dang.
I finally got in with the Stargate.
Damn.
But yeah, that was a...
Yeah, this was an interesting game because you started out hitting the gate running, and you just got agenda after agenda after agenda, and then the Corp managed to claw its way back into a seat of power.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were very good at making it really hard for me to set up, like, the run on R&D was always like $5-6, and
Mm-hmm.
because it's a run activation on Stargate, I can't discount that by like going, bravado or something like that, like just run events, inside job even. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really good
Yeah,
game.
The pair of turns where they managed to keep you out of R&D long enough to draw like 5 or 6 cards out of there, I think really won it for him. Really.
Right.
Yeah,
Because
like
me not
massive props to the to Neuropanzer for making those hard calls and having to burn the bio vault and Nisei counters to stop the Stargate.
Yeah, I do, just for this position, I do wish they would have done the border control thing because it would have been freaking hilarious. But
That would have
That's
been
a
pretty
cool play.
That
Heck
would have been
yeah.
sick.
um but unnecessary, obviously, because they might have known that like their hand was like, I don't see, the thing is I don't know what's in their hand at this point. They might have had another agenda, they might not have. I know that we looked in it and we saw a Rashida and a piece of ice.
Yeah.
So we knew 2 of the cards. And like from general knowledge, that hand's probably like ice, Rashida, and maybe an agenda.
I was gonna say, I think at most there's one agenda
There's
in
only
this
one,
hand at this point.
right?
They might have been a bit paranoid and were like afraid that you would somehow find a way to get into server 1 and wanted to keep that ace. I don't know.
Stim hack, and I just walk in. Like,
Yeah,
Stim hack,
they were
yeah.
terrified of that. They got to keep that
I
border
should be
control.
playing a stim hack.
Maybe. Or they just didn't think of it.
Just from a, anyway. So that's round 4. I really liked both of these games because the Corp game was like a 10-minute Corp win, which is unreasonable. And the this game was just this long drawn out, like, this is old Netrunner. This is what Netrunner looks like in my mind, is the like especially with the thimble rig making mind games everywhere, all these like, the setup, the payoffs, it's good stuff. The fight over economy,
The uncertainty over every card that the Corp puts out.
right? Like, I kept having to run server 1 for a while just because it's like, what the fuck is anything in here? And it's like, okay.
And that tower of a server just punishes you every time. And then Jinteki, I love the way they just mess with the runner every time.
Yep.
Because at one point, he could have kicked you out of there at least like 3 times if he really needed to.
Yeah.
With Nisei, Bio, and Border Control.
Yes. So,
yeah,
very good game.
Powerful.
Very fun. So from here, I think that puts me at 5-3 going into the last 3 rounds. So, anyway, that's going to be it for round 4, and hopefully we do rounds 5 through 7 at some point.
Yeah.
So, all right, gonna stop the recording here. Catch y'all later.